Hi Flosstube! Welcome to this video. My name is Anna and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. Today is Monday, September 30th. I meant to record this video over the weekend, but that just didn't work out that way. So I'll record this morning and then this evening I will edit and upload the video. You may have seen from my last video that I learned how to edit, so hopefully this time I can talk a little bit more about my life and my projects, and if it goes a little long I can just delete it or just delete a little section of it. So hopefully there's a bit more content to this email. So one of the reasons I didn't record this weekend is because I had the chance to go visit my parents. I grew up in Kansas and they're still in that same house that I grew up in, and they usually have some projects around the house for us kids to do when we're in town. So I went to visit them this weekend. Now that we're in the Denver area, it's a pretty easy drive to get back to Kansas. I mentioned that for the last several years we were living on the East Coast near my husband's military base, and it was hard for a few years there to only be able to come home once or twice a year. So this weekend it was just nice. You know, it wasn't a holiday or any big events. We were just all at home helping out around the house and in the yard. My little brother was there with my niece and nephew, so it definitely didn't have any time to stitch. I didn't even take any cross stitch with me because all of our spare time was filled up with Uno and Legos and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's why I'm filming today instead of over the weekend. So let's just go ahead and get started on showing you my projects. So I'll start with my Heaven and Earth project, which is mini birdsong. And I do have to give credit to Sarah, the Stitchin' Mommy. She was the first Flosstuber that I started watching. And I watched all of her videos, and she's been stitching for years, so she has lots of projects that go way back before she started filming for YouTube. So she is stitching this, but she's doing it on, I think, like 40 count or something, whereas I'm stitching it on 18 count Ida. So here's a picture of what it looked like before. And here I am now. Let's get a little bit closer. I am so close to finishing this little diagonal. I will probably finish this tonight or tomorrow and then put this away and move back to my other full coverage project. So yeah, there's only about 60 stitches left, and I just couldn't do it last night, so we'll see. I'm really enjoying this project. Like I said, it's on 18 count Ida. And I'm doing the diagonal parking method on it. Here's what it looks like. So a little bit about my apparatus here. This is, I believe, a 14-inch Q-snap, or like an 11-inch with the extender, and then the sides are 6 inches. And I'm using it kind of like a scroll rod, so that when I'm stitching on it, I can tighten it up. And I can link the video below on where I got this idea from. I do have to say though that I'm not an experienced stitcher, and the lady in the video that inspired me to do this was not doing a full coverage piece, so I cannot vouch for even tension or anything like that. I'm trying to tighten it up so I can show you. So when I'm working on it, it's usually tightened up like this. And you can see that the sides don't have as strong a tension as the middle. So because it's full coverage, you know, by the time I finish this large project, it could be that the sides have looser stitches and that overall it looks a little uneven. I'm hoping that's not the case, and really I'm just enjoying the project so much, and this is such a convenient way to use the Q-snap that I'm going to keep doing it. But just a word of caution if you're considering doing this, especially on a full coverage piece, that I cannot vouch for how even your stitches will be on this, but I'm going to keep using it like this. So yeah, that is the full coverage piece. When I finish this diagonal, I'm going to put this away, and I probably won't get it out again for a while. We're officially into fall, so I'll probably do my other full coverage piece for a while, which I'm not going to show you because I didn't work on it at all this last month. So that was that one. I also worked on, let's see, I just have a big pile of stuff over here. So I also worked on Winter Cardinals, which is a dimensions kit. Again, another tip from Sarah, Stitching Mommy. She uses wrapping paper rolls and other rolls to hold her pieces. This is a paper towel roll, but I keep my projects in tote bags, so having just like a little bit of structure around it seems to help keep it organized. Okay, so I'll show you a picture of what this one looked like before. And let's see. Here it is now. So I started backstitching just the backside of the cardinal, but I haven't done all of it. I started the backstitching, and then I took this camping with us. So when I went camping, I just took a couple colors actually, to work over here in the branches. So I'll go back and backstitch the cardinal some more. I am happy with my decision to do fractional stitches around the cardinal so that the backstitching hugs it a little more tightly. And you can see, maybe, I don't know if you can see very well. There's a spot in his tail here where I wasn't as tidy, and I'm going to go back and add some more fractionals to smooth it out, and I do like the look of it once that's done. The other change I made on this, which you can't see, is I added one strand of blending filament to the snow. It gives it just a tiny bit of sparkle, and yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to see it. But I'm still really enjoying this. It's on 16 count Aida. I believe it's Dove Gray Aida, whatever came with the kit. And this is my largest count, or lowest count, I guess. So this is now my new car project. It used to be sunflowers on 11 count Aida, and I tried to take one of my 32 count linen projects in the car, and it wasn't gonna happen. I get car sick sometimes, so it's pretty rare that I can stitch in the car, and I certainly can't do it when I'm trying to get to little tiny holes. So this works really well for that. So I'm enjoying working on this. I'll probably put it down for a little bit just because we're truly in fall, and I want to work on fall projects. So Winter Cardinals. Another one that I worked on is Horn of Plenty, which is from this magazine. I got papers in there. So there's that. And I will show you a picture of what it looked like last time. And here's where I am now. So I think last time I just had started some of the pumpkin, and now I'm still working on the pumpkin. What I'm doing is I'm choosing a color in the pumpkin or right around the outside of it, and I'm just working that strand out until it runs out. And then after I do that all the way around, I'll go back and backstitch the pumpkin and then start on something else. So I love this project. It's on 32 count Belfast linen in mocha. And it's just it's so fall, and it's fun. There's a ton of backstitch. If you're considering starting this, there's tons of backstitch in it. But I really enjoy it. I like the colors. I love these little grapes are coming in. It's great, and I'll definitely be working on this more in October, just because it is fall. And this is on a really large piece of linen. And part of the reason for that is that I think I'm on the fence about the border. So on this project, it's got this cornucopia in the middle, and then it's got this border around it. And the border is really pretty. I like it. It's full of backstitch, which would be interesting. I just think that it's maybe a little busy the way it is. So I was considering leaving it out, or stitching it by itself on a second project with like a message in the middle. Or I think right now the plan is to just bump the border out a few stitches so that it's just further away from the middle section, not quite as busy, because it's almost touching on the edges here, and there's just not a lot of white space. And I really like the coloring on the fabric. so I'd like to see more of it. So the fabric is big enough to bump both borders out an inch all the way around. I don't know if I'll go that far, but I'm a long way from having to decide. I'm just going to keep stitching on the middle section before I decide. I might regret that decision because of all the backstitch and the repetitive nature of the border, but we'll see. That's the plan for now. So yeah, that's that one. My, I guess, fall project. I'm trying to think what else I have in here. I didn't make any notes for this one. I'm going to work as soon as I'm done, so it's a little chaotic. Let's see how it goes here. Oh, right. So I did not work on Fright Night, my other full coverage piece, and I also did not work on Spirit of Christmas by Lavender and Lace. Winter is right around the corner here, so I'm going to save Spirit of Christmas until it starts to get a little chillier out, which might actually happen this week. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, my new start for September was this Prairie Schooler Birds and Berries. Clear there. And I'm starting with this Red-winged Blackbird. It's the one I chose. This is my first Prairie Schooler, and I can see why people like these. Compared with my other projects, there are some big blocks of color, and it started out pretty quickly already. So in my last video, I still had to get fabric for this, and I talked about getting fabric that was maybe a little more gray than what they had here. In the picture here, it looks kind of like a burlap color, like it has like a very yellow color to it, and they said it's natural linen. So I went to my L&S, very exciting. I started cross-stitching about a year ago, and we were living in a rural area right outside of a military base on the East Coast, and I got all of my supplies from Michael's or the internet, and all of my inspiration from YouTube and social media like Reddit and that kind of thing. So moving back here to Denver and having an L&S to go to, a local needlework shop, it was amazing. They had samples all over the walls, and I'm in Denver, so my local shop is a stitching shop, and it's fantastic. And they're so helpful there, and they do stitch-ins, and it was amazing. So anyway, I went there, brought the pattern with me, and I told her, the woman who helped me, I told her what I was looking for, and that I wanted a gray color for this, and that I wanted 32 count because I'm loving that right now. And so she pulled out a bunch of grays that they had in stock, and she also pulled out the natural linen, and we pulled all the flosses and we took them outside into the sunshine and held the flosses on the fabric. And I ended up going with the recommended natural linen. In person, at least the piece that I have, it has a much more neutral gray tone. It's not a cool gray, which is what I was originally looking for, but it goes really well with the flosses. The other fabric I was looking at was a closer gray to what I imagined, but with the flosses, it just didn't go well together. So I went with the recommended natural linen, and I worked on it just a couple days, and here's my progress. So really, for the amount of work that I did, I covered a lot of ground on this project, which I think is why people like the Prairie Schoolers so much. So that's how far I got. And my L&S is amazing because I bought four pieces of fabric. So they have the same fabric for all of these, and they serged all the edges. And I have all the flosses for all of them. So I'm ready to start my next one whenever I have a month that I need to start a new one. I don't have something picked out. I can just go forward with these. So I'm really enjoying it. I like the colors. And I like that it's a little bit more of summer. It's not going to be much longer, and I'm going to move into my winter projects. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. I do have a new start picked out for October, and I want to take a second to explain my new starts a little bit. Like I said, I started stitching about a year ago, and I had 2 projects for a very long time. For probably 7 or 8 months, I had just 2 projects. And during that time, I started to see other projects, and I started to get a wish list, things I want to work on, or at least designers that I wanted to try out. And I also started in the used and pre-owned patterns market. I acquired a lot of magazines and a lot of books and a lot of used patterns or pre-owned patterns through that. And then when we moved out here to Denver, I started going to thrift stores and estate sales and garage sales, and I have a collection of patterns that I do want to start. So starting in July, I started Spirit of Christmas, and I've had a new start every month since then. And I've been looking through my patterns, and I think that I have enough to keep doing this clear up until May. I don't know what I'm going to do in May. That's a long way off. But I have enough patterns to have a new start every month. I do have to get fabric and probably flosses for all of them, but I don't have much of a stash other than these patterns. So I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah, so my new start in October is also out of this magazine, which I don't know how much I paid for this magazine. It was from one of those Facebook groups, probably across one of the Facebook groups for Stash Unloading. I think it was probably like $3, and I'm loving this pattern, so I feel like I already got my money's worth out of it. But there's another pattern in here that I'm going to start in October, and it is Halloween Banner Sampler. So there it is. I am going to change this a little bit. I'm not loving this stone here, tombstone here or whatever, headstone, and I'm not loving this bat, and I'm not loving this cat. I know that there are kind of goofy, silly cats out there, but all of the cats in my life are very dignified, and I don't think that this cat reflects that. I thought about taking off the smiley face and fixing his ear and changing the tail. I was like, this is silly. I'm just gonna not do it. So I'm not doing that portion of it. So I'm gonna move the ghost over here a bit more. Oh, this glare. I'm gonna move the ghost over here, and I'm gonna do something with this border here so that it's actually just gonna be this big, and it's just gonna have that stuff on it. But I'm excited. It's kind of spooky. I don't have anything really like this. I might also change the eyes to like a green, like a spooky green color. And then there's some little smiley faces here, and the ghost has a little smiley face. I'm just going to take those smiles off and leave the spooky eyes because I really like these pumpkins. They're a little menacing, but not too spooky. So yeah, this is going to be my October start, and I already got fabric for it. I have fabric for it, and it is in the piles here somewhere. Here it is. Okay, so this is the fabric I got. I'll take it out of the plastic here. This is Picture This Plus 32 count linen in the color Jewel, and it's a lot brighter than I was looking for, but again, my LNS knows what they're doing. We got some black floss and put it on top, and I think it's going to be perfect for Halloween. So, yeah. It's going to be covered in mostly black and these silvers, so I think that it will work. And I still need to measure it, but I think with the alterations that I made, I have plenty of room to do another project on it. So this came cut and serged like this. My LMS didn't cut it for me like my other one. The other project that I'm thinking about doing would be for next year for Halloween, but I'll show you because it's in this same magazine, which again, it just keeps paying for itself. And that is Double Trouble, this one. I would like to do the words, but if I don't have room, I think that this would be fine just as like a long skinny pattern without the words. And these little steam things, they look kind of like a kid's birthday party to me. So I'll probably change them to all greens, and these bubbles maybe change to like something spookier. And then I would do that on the same the same fabric. So I think with the yellow and orange flames and some spooky green stuff coming out the top, it will go really well with the other one. So those are my plans. I'm gonna also start kitting up my November start because that's gonna be here sooner than we think. And I don't really have any other updates. I'm glad I got this in this morning before going to work. Hopefully everything goes smoothly when I edit tonight, and hopefully I don't have to delete anything. I don't know. We'll see when I watch it back what I think of it. Yeah, that's all I have. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you in about a month. Bye. Happy stitching.